Hello science family. Today we're going to be looking at pennies, and we're going to be taking the copper from the outside of the pennies and eventually trying to make what's called an alloy. If you guys are familiar, alloys are mixtures of metals that can change the properties of that original pure metal. So if we take a copper penny here, which has copper on the outside, our goal today is going to be that we are going to coat this penny with zinc, and then we are going to try to melt, which means physically mix together, the copper of the penny with some of the zinc to make brass. So we're going to take this copper penny, turn it to a silverish color, okay, which will be coated in zinc, and then eventually heat it up to turn into an alloy to make a golden color, which we know as the alloy brass. So to do that, let's begin. A couple things. I measured out some pure zinc right here. It's in powdered form. I measured out 2.5 grams of pure zinc. I also took a solution of zinc chloride, ZnCl2, with a concentration of 1 molarity. What I'm going to do is pour that 25 milliliters of zinc chloride into a beaker. I am also going to put that pure powdered zinc into the solution of zinc chloride. I'm going to put that over here on the hot plate for now to slowly start heating up, but I have it on very low. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to prepare my pennies. As you know, pennies can be full of different blemishes and tarnish, so I am going to clean them off by using steel wool to make them nice and clean. After you rub a penny with steel wool, you will see that it looks a lot shinier and is a lot cleaner. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do that and clean these pennies, and then we'll take our next step. We've now cleaned our pennies, so you see that they're a regular penny copper color. If we're taking data, we definitely want to make note of what our clean, regular, original pennies look like, since we're going to be putting them through some different changes. So go ahead and record that data if you are writing it down in your lab. So we are now going to take our pennies and we're going to gently lower 2 of the 3 pennies into the solution of zinc chloride and powdered zinc. So there's my first one. Here's my second one. What I'm then going to do is now gently heat this up so that the pennies will begin to have a slight boil. What is going to happen is the zinc inside of the solution is going to slowly start trading places with the copper on the outside of the penny. What that is going to do is we are going to replace some of the copper with the zinc and coat the outside of the penny so that it should, in theory, end up with a nice silvery finish. So we'll see if that happens. But to do that, we're going to let this heat up and we're going to slowly give it a gentle boil for about 2 to 3 minutes. I did want to mention we're keeping 1 penny out of the solution, so we keep it as our control group so that we can compare the colors of the original penny to the zinc coated penny to eventually the penny that will turn into the alloy brass. So now our liquid is boiling, so we turn down our hot plate, but in the meantime you're going to see that the zinc is going to slowly start switching places with the copper so that eventually our pennies will be covered in zinc. That'll be an important part of the process. We are just about done. If you can see, the copper penny now looks very silver in color, which means that the zinc must have replaced a lot of the copper. So we should be able to remove it and cool it down and take care of our observations moving up next. So we're feeling pretty good now that our pennies are coated in zinc. So what we will carefully try to do is grab them, and I'm going to put them in a clean beaker to rinse them off. So I dropped 1 in there, and let's get that other one out and drop that in a clean beaker. Now what we'll do is we'll rinse it off, we'll dry it off, and we'll take observations and compare our new coated pennies to our control. All right, if we take a look at our different pennies, this was our original control penny, and now these are our 2 pennies that sat in the bubbling solution of zinc chloride. As you can see, the copper that was originally there is now coated with the zinc. So why did we want to do that? Well, first of all, write down your observations. The new penny is now definitely a silvery in color specimen. But now that we have the zinc coating on the outside, but the copper coating still on the inside, if we can heat those up, we can blend those two together to make the alloy known as brass. And that's what alloys are. We're mixing metals together. So let's go ahead and heat up our Bunsen burner and see if we can melt the zinc and copper together to make a new color, which should be a golden brass color. We are now going to take our zinc coated penny and we are going to put it in the Bunsen burner and slowly heat it so that the zinc and copper can start to melt together. And if it gets hot enough, we'll see that it should melt together to turn a golden color. And it's that simple and that quick. Now that we have completed the third and final step, you can see the difference between all three. The original copper penny, the zinc coated penny, and now the zinc and copper melted together to make brass. Look at the difference between those three colors and make your observations in your lab or data table. Now, the interesting thing about alloys is that alloys have a lot of different uses and purposes. They aren't just used for changing the color of an object, but by mixing different metals together, you can give them different strengths. You can change their conductivity, meaning maybe they are better or worse at conducting electricity. You can change also things like how easily they'll corrode. Something like chromium is added to nice fancy bumpers so that it doesn't rust as quickly. But alloys have a great deal of different uses. So mixing metals together is a big step in advancement. So for us, we made a gold penny today, but really that's not pure gold, that's just brass. But pretty cool to see the different changes from going from a clean penny, coating in zinc, to going to an alloy, which is brass. All right, go ahead and answer up the rest of your questions. Great job today, Science Fam, and we'll see you for the next lab.